Good morning and welcome back to Barebones Survival with me, Bones. I'm out on my usual walk, and today I'm going to respond to a question that was brought up to me the other day by a friend. Why don't I make a multi-tool my primary survival knife, as surely it would have a whole lot more facility? And there's a certain amount of truth to this. You absolutely can. However, the rules still apply. It must be strong, it must be durable, it must be reliable, your blade must take a decent edge. Now, there are more considerations, because one of the most important things is that if you get a cheap multi-tool, and I've got a cheap one today, just to show my proper one is in the bottom of a bag that I was putting together and then had to store for a little while, so it's out of reach temporarily, as it's not something I normally carry. I carry a straight blade for my preference. But there's a lot to be said about a multi-tool. Having a pair of pliers, a lot of people will tell you, is the way forward. I have a friend that swears blind that pliers are an utter waste of time, and he goes for shears. And that is certainly an option. It suits him and it suits his style, and that's pretty much the point. Now, this is a very basic generic. It has pliers, which means it does have a place in the bottom of my bag just because, and figure the camera angle as I am pulling out the varying possible tools. It's got a few which are worth mentioning. On this side, for example, you see you have an awl, 2 screwdrivers and a can opener and a knife, which is pretty good. It's not the greatest, but in a pinch, as you can imagine. And then on the other side, because yeah, this isn't one-handed opening, this isn't one of your fancy types, so don't expect much of it. My proper one is a Swiss gear, and I'm much happier with it. I've had it for about 20 years. On this side, as you can see, I've got a smaller screwdriver, a Phillips, a can opener, and what appears to be a saw. It isn't a saw, and for all of those people who say the saws on cheap multi-tools are not very good, that is a fish scaler with a hook disgorger, and incidentally a file which I've used to repair the edge on machetes and things before, so it does work. But it brings us to the point that, number one, get a multi-tool with the tools on that you will use. There's no point in having the facility to do 9 million things with the multi-tool, but you only use it for one thing. That's pointless. It's a waste of space, it's a waste of weight, and it's a waste of time. 3 things that are critical in any kind of survival kit. Have on the tools that suit you, that you will use. I don't carry one with the ability to do 90 different attachable screwdriver types and all the rest of that, because I'm not very mechanically minded in that way, and I don't use it on the everyday for that sort of thing. It's just not what I would do. Having 1 or 2 screwdrivers maybe is more than sufficient. My main interest is to use it for something more bushcrafty, so I want a decent blade and I want a decent saw. A bottle opener is questionable, but a can opener would be nice. I get more use out of the tweezers and toothpicks than most of the tools that you'll find on a multi-tool, really and truly. I consider for myself, if I'm going to carry one, I want one that's of a reasonable, comfortable size for the most part, though in my urban walking around bag I have a very small one which is suitable for the minimal uses I will put it to, mostly nothing more than the pliers, which is why I keep it as small as that. Just to have a little pair of pliers to grip onto things when I need to, because it is useful. So in terms of a multi-tool as your primary survival type weapon, absolutely, it is well worth it if that's your style. As I said, one of the most important things in terms of this is it's got to be a blade that you will carry, that you will use, that you are comfortable using. And in my case, I'm most comfortable with a single bladed straight edge because that suits me and the style of things I do. So I've gone with what works for me as opposed to what might work for something else. Remember that in many ways, the personal aspect is very, very important. If you don't feel comfortable or that you can rely on your primary tool, it's the wrong tool. You've got to take the one that you are comfortable with, that you can and will rely on. In this end, therefore, I have a tendency to want certain tool seals on my blades because they're the ones I trust the most, am familiar with the most, feel I can rely on the most. Dependent on the situation, I'm going to pick a certain size because it fits my hand, a certain shape, because it works for me. And if for you, you can find a multi-tool that fits that 100%. However, it does come with a caveat. Remember that a cheap multi-tool will break. This is your primary tool. Don't stuff around. Get one that's worth having. There are plenty of name brands out there, and yes, they do get a little costly, but if this is going to be your last-ditch backup, it's worth putting a few pennies into the primary gear, and that first knife is important. So get something decent that is fully reliable. Choose a thing that is legal where you are, that is suitable to you and that you like. I must admit that while I don't normally carry a folder with more than one blade, I've been checking out the Victorinox Ranger grip with a great deal of interest because it's simple enough to suit me. It's thin enough to suit me. It's got only one or two small tools on it, but those tools fit exactly to my idea of what I need, and they're incredibly good quality. So yes, I've been examining those with a great deal of interest for a while now, and maybe if I can save up enough, I will obtain what is truly quite prohibitive, but nevertheless. So yes, these are the thoughts on the multi-tool and why I carry one in my bag, but I don't carry one in my pocket. And you must do you. So till next time, have an absolutely fantastic day. And this was Barebones Survival.